Welcome to Java, and thank you kindly for joining again. It's October 14th, 2025. It is also Tuesday. Now, yesterday, bond markets were closed, so a lot of the action as far as the stock markets were all done with retailers. So the volumes were very different. We've got a few things going forward with the calendar that we'll cover. So it is nice to be back. Missed you all, and we're back into this. Quite a bit of volatility. Very interesting, very important week going forward after what happened last week. So we've got some serious pen stroke risk. I'll explain that in a moment. And we've got strength, relative strength, in the Dixie or the dollar. So we are on day 14 of government shutdown for the United States and quite a bit going forward. So, as always, let's get started with what's going on in this market. So, fear greed matter did actually drop deep into the fear territory after a pullback. But as you can see, cryptocurrencies recovering. They had dropped quite a bit as well. This was, in my opinion, a good short preview of what is going to happen when they dump the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. Is this the big one? We'll see. It could grind down a bit more. We'll talk a little bit more about the factors that we're going to look at for that. But what it looks like at the moment, markets are recovering. Now, cryptocurrencies, while they're in the red at the moment, they have recovered nicely. It was a good opportunity to get into those over the weekend, as those do trade on the weekends 24/7. So, the interesting factors are the 10-year yield. It's at 4.30 and heading down. So, as this heads down, this means that there is purchasing of bonds going on. That is a flow of money. And the threat to that, if it continues lower, is the flow would go out of equities or the stock market. Now, at the moment, that does not look like what is happening. This paired with the relative strength of the dollar up would kind of put all that pressure on the stock market. However, I believe that is what happened over yesterday and Friday, and a lot of the geopolitical fears and tensions going on. So if we look at this right now, it looks like stock market's going to open a bit on the positive side, and we've even got volatility dropping a bit. So looking at some of the futures show that it should be a little bit weaker. We'll see. This could shift very rapidly. We've got gold is now holding very strongly above the 4100 level. Now, it has gone up massively. Could it continue? Absolutely. However, it looks like it's getting a bit tired in its rally, and it looks like it could set for a bit of a pullback. Now, if it does, that's very positive for the longer term price. Would I short this? No. And I am a high risk investor because longer term, I see gold as being very strong. What you might want to look at instead is look at shorting. If you're really set on shorting, look at some of the derivatives, not the metal itself, and use it to purchase more of the metal at the depressed prices, or at least relatively depressed. So, our daily driver for today, we've still got China versus the United States. The focus is the rare metals. Now, what happened yesterday was there was that announcement, and that kind of crushed the stock market because everyone became concerned. When they saw the stock market going down, they did walk back their comments. So, that is pen stroke risk. That at any moment could be signed in through President Trump or even with agreement with Xi Jinping that they would have some type of agreement or that they would be looking forward to a deal. If they did that, that would massively move all of the markets. So that is a serious risk, whichever direction you go to, that it could affect all of those across the board. Now, this morning we've got bank earnings coming in. Unsurprisingly, we've got JP Morgan Chase as reported, Wells Fargo, and Goldman Sachs now. They're all doing very well. They have all made massive profits. The interesting part is that a lot of their profits on the side are in the investment banking, meaning trading. So all of their stock side, not on the loan side. And then to balance this out, their highest cost for their business is labor. So looking probably towards more layoffs in that sector as well. It looks like the labour market is weakening, despite the fact that we won't be getting numbers because of the shutdown. We know that in reality, the labour market is becoming weak, less jobs opening, and less hirings going on. So, looking forward on the global oil supply, according to the IEA, they're seeing the supply growing at a faster pace this year. That will suppress the price of oil down. That will actually help with inflation. But we could see lack of demand paired with this could be the onset of what we are going to see as the greater correction or depression, if you will. So, with this, as far as a little bit more commodities, we've got lumber tariffs that were announced and a hike in housing prices. Now, a lot of people have been talking about housing market coming down, and while that's true, there is also a pent up need to sell housing, as well as the supply changing with this. So that could be an interesting dynamic that will go not the way that people expect. We've got US lumber giants. These are two of the largest lumber companies right in line with these tariffs. They have now agreed to combine. So now there's one large US lumber giant with the tariffs dropping. So that is positive for them, but it could increase the prices again for building, which would cut down on the supply and raise housing prices. So again, JP Morgan traders, bankers are crushing their estimates for their quarterlies, but this is again in the equities trades. Now, at the same time, Jamie Dimon is calling out weaker job market and inflation as provisions rise. We know this in reality. They're finally starting to put this out in the mainstream media. So once it hits that, it's known. Calendar for today, we're getting Jerome Powell is going to be speaking. That's really the largest thing. A couple of other Fed governors. And then tomorrow morning, prior to the market open, is the manufacturing survey. So really, everything else we're going to be watching is actually stronger effects will be earnings and the geopolitical. So we had silver, and I want to talk about this for a moment. It is in a squeeze. So silver price hitting a record amid the scramble in the London market. They could not deliver the physical metal for the demand. So while it is hitting another all-time high and looks poised, it's gone parabolic, it could very well continue. So markets can always do something that is not expected or outside of the charts. They're good for technical analysis, but they're not always correct. So we've got some market bits in info. CRML, critical metals. They rallied massively yesterday, and this is because of the geopolitical issues going on, but are they too hot? Don't go scrambling into those now. They could be overcooking. Look for a little bit of either consolidation or pullbacks first. Now, AVGO, this is Broadcom. Broadcom had more news with NVIDIA, and they are now dropping their numbers. So these could be the harbinger for artificial intelligence. Broadcom does make chips a little bit farther along the sector, and with this announced deal, they should be doing better than what we're seeing happening. So that one is under watch. Banks, of course, are doing very well, so they're on the positive side. We've got platinum and palladium also screaming to the upside. However, they are not overcooked. They've got quite a bit more room to go for the both of them. They may have a bit of a pullback or consolidation period. If they do, that would be very positive for the both of them as well. Again, not financial advice. You do have to think for yourself as well as do your own research. Now, I'm putting this on watch because they're being a little bit quiet about it. But cybersecurity stocks, I believe these are hitting a growth sector and that going forward, probably within the next, definitely within the next quarter, it looks to be a very strong situation for cybersecurity stocks again. We're going to be looking for quality within that sector. Now, Kratos, they are another in the defense sector. And I want to bring this up because drones, again, are in another, within the defense sector, they're another growth area. So, going into this a little bit more, we've got something else that they're not talking about. We know a lot of this is going into the battles, into the wars, and what they're doing is they're pushing the payment processing in the back end. They seem unrelated, but this is all because of the currency war that is going on in the background. Now, they're going to push a lot of data moving over to this tokenization, everything on the blockchain, and everything surveilled. Now we've got one outlier, and that is satellite. So we're beginning to watch these stories being floated out that are going to push the reason that they need to kind of lock down satellite and secure it, if you will, which means fully surveil. Now, Elon Musk's Starlink, now they're reportedly being probed for a role in the Myanmar scam centers. So, for people's protection, they're going to need to start kind of locking that down. And they're also saying that satellites are leaking data worse than coffee shop Wi Fi. So, look for the narrative coming out that these are absolutely uh, allowing data to get out. So, they must secure these and surveil these as well, because that's what we're looking forward to, is full surveillance, full control of the system. Now, there was another bit that came out in the geopolitical side. There has been a lot going on with all of the Middle East tensions going on and the peace deals. A lot of deals going on with Qatar as well as the UAE. Now, interestingly enough, this is not making the larger news, but the Qatar counterpart to Hexeth has been welcomed to the Pentagon, and they have built a Qatari facility at a United States base in Idaho. This is in order to train their pilots, fighter pilots, not commercial. So, why would they be doing this? They've got a massive amount of growth that they are expecting, not just cryptocurrency, but also the payment system that will be a hub globally. So looking forward, that area will be growing is what I'm seeing for a lot of these things in the back end. So keep an eye on that. So with all of this, wish you all a wonderful day in trading. Going to be in Discord a little bit later today, but I have quite a few things to catch up on. So until I see you again, my friends, resist.